So here we see a sample of code called sample iteration, which is available on your grading on the sample code site. Basically, what we have is an example of the three loops. Lines 7 through 11 here represent the for loop. So we see for int I equals 0 as our initialization statement, I less than 10 as our condition, on I++ as the iteration at the end. And what we'll do is it will print out system.out.println. It will execute I is and show you what the value of I is at each turn during the iteration. The next few lines represent how we might use the while loop. Again, we'll start with an int j equals 0. I'll have that variable somewhere. I'll initialize it to some number. I will then test that condition, j less than 10. And then within the braces, I will execute a series of statements with an incrementer at some point to make sure that I do not end up in an infinite loop. And then finally, lines 21 through 26 here show you the do while. Again, I will have an initialization statement here with k equals 0. I'll have my do, open brace, close brace, and I will do the statements within that loop, and then I will test the condition at the end. You'll notice here that I am missing the incrementer, so k basically never changes and is always going to be 0. And as such, this would evaluate to an infinite loop. You will see that there are two errors, not in the code that I have here, but in the code that is available for you to download. Again, to start testing your ability to do debugging. In those cases, you will have syntax errors that will occur. In this case, this is actually a runtime error. The code will compile, but because k never changes, you end up in an infinite loop, and thus you'll have to break this. If you run this code from the terminal or command prompt in Windows terminal in a Mac or in Linux, you can hit Control C to actually execute, or Control X depending on which system you're on.